conversation over email around the idea of war is different when it is a human face. Black wind, a shrinking outline, irresolute gable, perimeters knit in moss. Mark the Clarke at Shanadonnell. Inside a recent X of charred branches, an orange tumbler, a short party. There are no trees left to burn. The green walls that lie felted like a row of babies' caps, and the stone placed next to others on a flat rock stands for the not enough then and now, and the difference between them. How slow they're leaving, how fast the flight from Syria and Iraq, the last fires on the stoves, the choices of what to carry, flaming as woken children. There is a path pressed down to the cove of Dog Point, and two cairns taller than people, built from white stones. Each selection a wish to return, told through handling. Last year the farmer, fed up with trekkers, raised the wall, toppled the cairns. They thought blowing up the Buddha at Bamiyan could destroy his mind, but it was like fencing in the sea.
Na ekranu ženske, vse posod ženske in otroci, matere, babice, tete, hčerke, vnukinje, nečakinje, punce. Women on our screens, everywhere women and children, mothers and wives, aunts, daughters, nieces, grandchildren. A 92-year-old granny on the sofa bed in her tiny Kharkiv kitchen. The refrigerator door is wide open. Broken glass mixes with food on the floor, which fell from shelves in a courtyard explosion. She talks of how she starved as a child in Leningrad during the big war. And now, all this. Men on our screen, everywhere children and men, fathers, husbands and sons, nephews, boys and lovers. At border crossings and railway stations, a man is caressing a child's hand behind the window glass on a moving train. Another man is tearing himself from an embrace. Women and children are leaving for the West, men returning on their own to the East. Everyone is heading in different directions, all of them on their way to the unknown. I don't know anyone from the footage, but I recognize every pair of eyes, hands on the glass, a child clinging to a worn-out teddy bear, a scared cat, and panicking dog.
Shackleton Barracks, Ballykelly. It was a main thoroughfare, though the quietness of the mountain said otherwise. Douglas firs on either side hid the airfield. The road had an air of definition, hard to define, a speed limit of 30, an armed gate, and a council estate that wasn't. Its name was Valiant, its missions the extremes, its purpose was to leave a mark. There was no music in the music room. There were no toilets in the boiler suits. They took day out and made man a lightless star. Made the wall make him stand, made thirst a canyon of him, made hunger a south pole of him, hung the black lampshade of him from the ceiling, shattered sleep from his future. Made the wall a canyon, made the north a hunger, hung thirst from the ceiling, lightless day in boiler suits, toilets in the music room, crying through the toes. Some voices tumbled out of the helicopter and hid in the wardrobe. Some voices came out of the walls and hung sightless on the front grass. Some voices met other voices travelling in Farsi, dressed as a brother. Words translated meant the same. It must be so described.
Maya, 18 years old, asks on WhatsApp whether there are any women in the house, because she says they are afraid of men. Peter explains to her there will be an elderly gay couple to meet them, and she texts back a smiley as a reply. She sends another message about an hour before they are due to arrive. Peter goes up to the main road and waits for them, so they won't miss our entrance in the dark. Then, just before 7 o'clock, I see the headlights of a car driving tentatively down to the house. I'm nervous while I wait for them at the front door. They scramble out of the car, numb from their long journey. Dobrodošli. Welcome, I greet them. And somehow, uncertain, I embrace Maya, her mother, Marina, and Granny Tatiana. Arseny stands in the dark. His eyes are glued to the ground. When they come into the house, Tatiana asks about my mother. It's apparent Maya didn't explain everything to her. She thinks Peter is my father. Then we sit around the table. They don't ask much, and Maya eventually explains Papa stayed in Kiev to fight with the territorial forces. We sit on the terrace. Warm sun rays bounce off our faces. Vesna, says Tatiana, and closes her eyes. Primavera? I ask her, and she nods assent. We laugh like children. We all applaud each time a Ukrainian word resembles one in Slovenia.
War in parts. Stop murdering, a mother tells her 6-year-old who's firing a finger. Little wars start every day. My nephew swipes a stick I used to dig a tunnel more quickly. He holds it tight and keeps digging with the other hand. Give it back. So much weaponry in plain language, so much temporary possession on a beach. This is how war starts, I tell him. I cannot take its division out of myself. I've walked away from a truce, refused my body the arm's farewell. I told myself it was to forestall longing. I was molten in the street, wheeling away as if I was hard. I wanted to be held for a lifetime, be a frequency of peace. The flash of battle springs me still.
They needed 5 days to get from Kiev to Ivano-Frankivsk. She said they spent nights in their car, hidden in a forest. At the moment they are safe with a Ukrainian family. On their way to Italy, they will need shelter for a few days. Natalia her husband, a war veteran from Donbass, their 8-year-old son, and the family dog. We agree they can come. With the dog, of course. Whenever, even if it's very late. The fresh bedding and towels are ready. Peter and I make the beds and then wait for their next call.
War in Parts 2. When I spoke to my class about war, I could no longer say soldier, but kept repeating shoulder, kept putting the body in, kept creating burden in the room. My soldier, your shoulder, your soldier, your age. Students, poets, being hardened, being given dreams that can't be slept through. The lie of shoulder to solider, the shelter of battalions. It came from not wanting to see soldier, to say soldier at 9, not knowing what they wanted to see or say or have or lose, their rifles targeting the windscreen, their movements breaking along ditches, faces muddied, as if we didn't know our own fields. It was an enormous effort to keep them parallel, those shouldered soldiers, their invisible command. Something was wrong, and this was not the shape of right. It took enormous effort to not call it war, while its nation thickened inside us.
No news? I asked Peter. Probably they did not stop in Slovenia after all, and are well on their way to Italy. I try to imagine Natalia. She's always glamorous. Even when she gets out of the car, exhausted, with her impeccable nails and sunglasses on top of her head. The wind is ruffling her hair. Somewhere in the south, the fragrance of orange blossom is in the air. She walks and then sits under a tree with her husband, her son, and their beloved dog.
We are simple people,
she said last time, while still at the Hungarian border.
We only need somewhere to lay down for a while and have some sleep.
Thank you.